Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah,
We got it! We got it!
New 52 book.
somebody clip this.
Welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I'm Jared, and here with Taladia Plays. What's up?
What's up? I know Jared made me watch it, but it was worth it for me. It's not a
Yeah.
horrible film for me because Steve Trevor dies. So we'll start off on that.
When he was explaining it to me why he doesn't think that's a bad movie, the minute he mentions that, see, the problem with that, and yes, we're talking about Wonder Woman 1984. The problem with this movie is, okay, and Britt and I have talked about this on Legacy a few times starting into this, is it makes Diana like a person that like spent a century moping about Steve Trevor. Yeah, exactly. Even if it's happy that Steve Trevor died, it's the aftermath of it that I'm like, I'm not sure how we feel about this. And eventually it just seems like it's a character assassination on Wonder Woman.
But there's a confusion for me.
Go ahead.
How is it canon to BVS?
It's in the DCEU. That's why they put it
No, but even though they set it in the past, Steve Trevor comes back. What I'm trying to get at is that the clock was there in the movie.
Oh, when she says 100 years ago, I walked away from mankind. Oh, that is, no one said this makes sense, Taladia. At this point, they threw away the Snyder movies. We all know this.
No, but the thing is, what didn't make sense to me, I'm gonna put this out there. What was with the watch? I thought Bruce found the watch, right, and gave it to Diana.
That was in Wonder Woman 1. That wasn't in BVS.
That was in Wonder Woman 1, right?
But yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
He gets his own movies.
So I'm just like, excuse me, but it was still a good movie to watch, right? I'm not gonna downplay it because I love the fact that Steve Trevor.
Yeah, but it's the moping afterwards that makes it so bad.
No. What I mean is, Steve Trevor thought a trash can was art. That was really funny.
It's all corny jokes, though.
Hey, you're an old man. When you're my age, you'll get it. But I think this film, like the armor look was really cool. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the golden armor from Kingdom Come in the background that I'm using. Yeah, I did like that. There were some fun parts about it. So let's talk about that. Fun part number one, golden armor looked great. I liked how the wings could become like a shield and she could like throw them off. That's a skin in Multiverses, by the way.
Is it? Okay.
You can have that. And when she spawns in with that, she does the whole throw the wings off move.
Oh, okay.
So they did a lot of fun stuff with that. My problem with this movie, actually, no. Let's continue to talk about good stuff. See, it's really hard to talk good stuff about this movie.
I got something good to talk about.
All right, go ahead.
Life can be good, but you can make it better.
Oh yeah, that crappy version of Maxwell Lord, where that's Maxwell Lord in name only, just so they can make a Trump joke.
Hey, but it is a funny joke though.
Yeah. Actually, no, it's not. It's not. It that went on for like way too long.
No, but the first week of that meme, oh,
that was such a good meme. But see, here's the thing about this. So Wonder Woman 1 was like a massive success.
Yeah.
So WB in their infinite wisdom decided, hey, let's let Patty Jenkins write a Wonder Woman movie as well, assisted by Jeff Johns. And we've already talked about his BS3 when it comes to movies. I love you in terms of comics, Jeff Johns. I want to be clear on that. I love your comic stuff. But anyway, in terms of because of this. So she wrote essentially what she wanted to, what she was going for, is she wanted like a Christopher Reeve style Wonder Woman movie on the vein of Patty Jenkins, of Linda Carter's Wonder Woman show. The problem with DC, they keep trying to chase the past, and when they chase the past, it ends up screwing them in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's the same thing with Superman, and to the point where she took away the sword and the shield because she says, I don't like that warrior component of Wonder Woman. And I'm like, that's the character that you're working in this universe.
I need to say something.
Yeah, go
I need
ahead.
to get this off my chest. Why was Zack and Deborah Snyder credited, even though they didn't have nothing to do with DC?
Because it's because the character was introduced in their movie, so they get a producing credit for it.
Oh, okay. I had to put that there. I was like, why was they credited? But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think another thing about this is the whole wishing thing. I'm just like, no. Why do you wishing as the part of like, oh, it's a God thing? Like, you never explained that in Wonder Woman 1. Like, there was no like gods that made that. You get me?
I mean, and the gods were all wiped out. But here's the thing: it could be that thing was made before the gods got like eliminated. So here's the thing: the way the way that the plot of this movie is, so Diana finds this wishing stone essentially, and it's supposedly. It's like essentially a monkey's paw where it gives you what you wish, but it takes something from her. So it takes her powers. And the thing is about this is that this is kind of interesting when people praise this. I'm like, you realize, so when you look at the new 52 Wonder Woman, her and Superman had this unspoken like promise, and Taladia, we could cover this on your show, where it was the world always comes first. Yes. And in this, Wonder Woman is putting her own wants above the world. And I'm sorry, that is not Wonder Woman.
I think, you know what, I had a feeling Jeff Johns was using Rebirth. That's what he was doing. Yeah,
probably. But even beyond that, then you get, one of the controversies that this movie had is the whole Wonder Woman slept with a dude that Steve Trevor was inhabiting his body. The thing about that, I get what Patty Jenkins was going for. She was trying to make something like the movie Big with Tom Hanks. Yeah, so she's essentially trying to do that. The problem is that movie still kind of that whole concept. This is the problem with trying to chase the past. You don't realize that the way people view those types of stories has changed. That's a major consent thing.
This is why I think the whole ordeal, I'll be brutally honest with you guys, right? I think when I look at this film, I'm just like Steve Trevor again. Like, no, what they could have done? I would have loved to have seen Giganta on the big screen.
That would actually be fun. I could definitely see that.
That would have been far better as a villain than Cheetah, right? You could have done Cheetah for the Legion of Doom versus Justice League film, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could have brought her into that.
Mm-hmm. You could have, and that would have set up. Reportedly, like the original plan for Zack is that Dr. Poison from Wonder Woman 1 was going to be carried over into the Justice League 2 Legion of Doom, like she's like somehow immortal or something like that. So that would have been interesting. But the problem I encounter with this movie, so then you also have Cheetah, and it's Barbara starts off like all good and stuff. But okay, so the problem I have with this is that, so she wishes to be like Wonder Woman, and then she gets some of Wonder Woman's powers, which, okay, that's cool. That's understandable. Then at this, wishes to be like an apex predator, and then she turns into a cheetah person. that doesn't, again, a lot of this movie has very faulty logic.
And you can blame Jeff Johns on that. I fully put Jeff Johns.
Well, because here's the thing, Jeff Johns, as much as I love his writing in terms of comic books, there is one character where that man cannot write, and that is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Ask anyone, because he writes Wonder Woman a little bloodthirsty. So there was that. But it's like that's the thing. That's the one character where when you look at like his like thing, because he's written some of the best like DC characters, as in like Superman, Batman, even Green Lantern, especially Green Lantern. Hey, what's up?
Comment?
There's a rumor that Adriana Arjona is the pick as Wonder Woman. I could see that. In fact, that was the one, because I think we talked about it last night on who could be Wonder Woman. See, I don't like that, because while she has the right skin tone, she doesn't have the right accent. Like I said before, Wonder Woman needs to have an accent, like an accent from that period. Otherwise, I'm not going to buy she's from Themyscira.
But there's a problem, Jared. There's two other actresses potentially playing the Gunverse Wonder Woman. You want to hear one of them?
One of them isn't one of them the voice actor from Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
No.
Oh no! Go on.
Victoria Justice.
What?
Yes. Daniel RPK put that out on Twitter.
No! Come on!
I'm not joking.
Really?
Rational put it in Max's chat last night. Sent it to him. A screenshot.
Why? That is the worst pick for Wonder Woman.
It's a potential.
I don't care if it's a potential. It's still bad. What the hell is that? What?
Guys, this is made by night. I'm just putting that out there.
Victoria Justice as Wonder Woman?
Let me get the tweet. Let me see if I can get the tweet.
Please get that tweet, because that is like, of all the boneheaded castings that Gunn has had, that is like, what? You have a little bit of goodwill with the Green Lantern castings, and then you're going to cast Victoria Justice as Wonder Woman? Are you kidding me?
This was like, Rational posted this out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, he gave it to Max, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to check Daniel RPK's tweets.
Anyway, continuing on, the issue. So, again, the good parts about this movie is it's very colorful, which I get. That's what they want to do to get away from Zack's movies. Mm-hmm. And the thing about this that I also kind of like is because it's a prequel, it doesn't have to like retcon away a bunch of Zack stuff, despite the whole 100 years thing, which they already like retcon that away in the first Wonder Woman movie. So I'm not really that like broken up about it in this movie. The bad parts about this, so we'll start with the bad. Let's go. One of the bad parts about this movie is it's too corny. And it's too much like they're trying to capture Christopher Reeve / Linda Carter, but they forget that here's the problem with that. Here's why the Victoria just would be a good Wonder Girl. Yes, okay, she would be a good Donna Troy. She would be fantastic as Donna Troy, not Wonder Woman. But continuing on, the other issue I have with this movie is that, again, when you go too hard into the past, into like the past depictions of the characters like this did, like I'm convinced James Gunn's Superman is going to do, it really makes it where you're essentially, you're not up to, this is like a bad word, but I'm going to say it, updating the character for the modern audiences. And when you don't do, it's because there is a certain like point at which that's like a good thing where you want to do that. It's just when characters are written out of character, that's when it really starts to get bad. And it kind of did here. And it's one of those things where when I'm reading this, when I'm watching this movie, I can see the good in this movie. It's even called 1984, which I thought it was going to be a commentary on like government surveillance and such. It's never mentioned. They only made it like 1984 so they could say it's like in the 80s, but there's like contradictions to it being in the 80s. So I'm like, what the heck?
By the way, I'm still trying to find the tweet. I can't find it. God damn it.
Anyway, it's
Never mind.
I'm looking at the problem with this is that that's not the way the character is now, and that's my problem with going too much into the past version of characters. Because, and I said the same thing with Man of Steel. When you look at Superman, Superman and Man of Steel is not the Christopher Reeve version of Superman. I acknowledge that, but neither was the comic of Superman at the time. He was more the New 52 era / late post-crisis Superman, where he was a little darker, a little bit more mature. Taladia, you can back me up on that.
That is facts. Like the Man of Steel film, BVS, I would say is post-crisis with a little bit of New 52 in there.
A little bit, yeah. But and then Wonder Woman, it's the same thing. Late post-crisis, early like New 52, more the warrior side. Because if you notice, in the late 2000s to New 52, they started to really emphasize the warrior part of Diana a little bit. And like it or hate it, that's just the way it happened. So anyway, continuing on, it's like when you go too far, when your goal is comic accuracy, what people don't realize is that all these characters were accurate to the way the comics were at the time. And that's another reason why this movie didn't do well, because when you think about it, it wasn't accurate to the way the comics were. Even Rebirth Wonder Woman is not like, she is very much on the warrior side of it.
You know, can I say something?
Yeah, of course, dude.
I think that this film, the reason why it suffered so much in box office and everything was because the fact is they didn't stick the landing well, right? I felt as if you're using a generic villain, Maxwell Lord. He's not even
That's not even Maxwell Lord. No, you can make the argument he is, because remember in Infinite Crisis, Wonder Woman snapped his neck.
True, but
I thought that's what was going to happen in this movie. Like, see, here's the thing. Wonder Woman only breaks out the golden armor when the threat is like severe, when it's like a big world-ending threat. Maxwell Lord is that threat, arguably, and you can do that. The problem is they didn't capitalize on that. Because I'm not saying they had to go full OMAC on him or anything like that. They kind of led the way. They kind of had the bare bones of a threat / story that could have warranted the golden armor. The problem is when you see Maxwell Lord, because here's the thing, at this point, Maxwell Lord is a straight up supervillain. He's not supposed to be a sympathetic dude. He's not. No. This is the guy that shot Blue Beetle in the face. Or mind-controlled Superman, so Wonder Woman had to snap his neck.
So I'm going to put this out there. Right? Instead of using Maxwell Lord as the villain for this film, they should have just used Cheetah and brought in Giganta.
Well, here's what you could have done. Here's what I thought they were doing when I saw Steve Trevor was back. Because you could have made the villain Cersei and make Steve Trevor like an illusion by Cersei.
They could have done Cersei, but I think
it was a trick trying to get Diana to lower her guard, and then Steve is going to attack her. Or it's Ares resurrected.
I had another thing they could have done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Introduce John Troy in this film.
Donna Troy, they could have. Again, there's so much stuff here's the thing. If they introduce Donna Troy now, remember, this is like 20 years in the past. How do they explain where she is in BVS?
Well, remember, it's not we classified this as not canon.
True. Cheetah found a magical old godly dagger on an abandoned island, which transformed her into the Cheetah. Yeah, so what's wrong with adapting that storyline? Also, there's a male version of Cheetah as well. Yeah, that's what they could have done. But instead, they tried to put so much crap in there that they ended up having a mishmash of Wonder Woman stories, and it just fell apart.
It fell apart real quick and real fast.
Yeah, and again, It's not like this movie did not have the potential. Because remember, this was coming off of the fact that Wonder Woman was one of the most successful DCEU movies, rightly so. The first Wonder Woman movie is superb. And it may be warranting a second review. We'll see. But
no, not second review.
No, the first Wonder Woman movie, not this one. This one is dying after this review.
Okay, I thought you said we're gonna do this again. No.
I'm saying Wonder Woman 1, the one that's good. But the thing about this, the problem with this is like, again, and this is why I hate Steve, because here's the thing. This is why Steve and Lois are my two least favorite DC characters. And this movie's a perfect example of it. They treat it like without Steve, Wonder Woman is not Wonder Woman. Like, she's not a hero. She's constantly like, woe is me, Steve is dead. And I'm like, you're a superhero.
You know, here's another thing too. At least Steve Trevor in this universe acts mature and is not like his comic book counterpart.
At least he's not a stalker. I'll give you that. Which,
yeah,
here's the thing. Even with that, Wonder Woman, in the era that they're obviously trying to homage with, which is the George Perez, Wonder Woman was not with Steve Trevor. In fact, he was more of an adult father figure to her. He wasn't a love interest.
No, she wasn't.
And that's the hilarious part, honestly. And it's one of those things where I'm like, see, again, I really... And it's like they treat it like without these characters, like without Lois, Superman is not Superman, or he turns into Homelander, as we saw with Injustice. I hate that franchise. I really hate that franchise. That's one of the things where I'm like, I don't want any new Injustice content ever. Let it burn. Let it burn like the character assassinating crap it is. Anyway,
we're not talking about Injustice or Homelander. We're here to talk about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but that's the it's like
frustrating.
The fact that she sees that she's losing her, she doesn't have her powers, or she's like depowered a little bit because Steve is alive. The only way to bring him to bring peace to the world is to give up the wish. And she's like, no, I won't. I won't. I give them so much. I give people so much. Why can't I have this? And I'm like, that's not what Wonder Woman would say. Regular Wonder Woman, yeah, she would at first be like, I'm really sorry. It's like, but she wouldn't put the world in danger. And when she's like, I'll never love anyone again. And I'm like, this is really overly like dramatic.
Overly dramatic. And I think that it just doesn't work in this film. And that's why I decanonized this film to BVS.
Yeah, really, I really don't need it. Plus, the other thing, here's my problem with this movie and Captain Marvel. They turned up the man-hating on this to a severe level. Like, if you know, Steve Trevor is practically useless, as opposed to the first one, where he was, like, capable. He was helping her fight in a war. In this one, he, like, can barely fight against Maxwell Lord.
Another thing to add, right? I'm going to add this out there, right? Is the fact that in this film, I think the fact that, like I mentioned before, the whole watch thing, there's also pictures of Trevor Ranch.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he sees the picture to that. I'm just like thinking, isn't it a bit concerning to name a ranch after you?
No, because remember, it's like his family probably owned that ranch.
Okay.
But beyond that, how did she know where the ranch was? Because I don't remember him telling her about that in the movie. I don't recall her saying, her being told where he even lived in America.
No, he didn't. And what about his family?
Okay, I'm gonna say something else. Here's the dirty secret about this movie.
Go on.
Where was Wonder Woman in World War II?
Exactly. Where's pictures of World War II?
She could. Well, there were some stuff, but she was like in the shadows. I'm like, you're telling me you're sitting by when people are being gassed?
They should have made a World War II film. That
would have been dope as a sequel. It's like World War I, World War II, and Wonder Woman is fighting there. That could have been something.
That could have been far
also,
better.
here's the thing. Here's my problem with this movie and why I actually want a third Wonder Woman movie. Because according to Jenkins, the third movie would be in the modern day finally. Because when you think about it, Wonder Woman, except for in the Justice League movies, has never interacted with any other character in the modern day.
Problem.
What?
Two problems. First problem is because of this movie that tanked that caused the
I
third.
I know.
And the second thing is, what were they going to do with this Wonder Woman film if it's not going to be connected to the DCEU? That was another thing too.
No,
because
it would have been the sequel. The Wonder Woman 3 would have been because you know who was supposed to be a co-lead according to Brit? Kal-El.
Basically, Superman was supposed to be in this.
He was supposed to be in Wonder Woman 3. It would have been a team-up movie.
That's why you flip.
And it would have explored like a possible conflict between the Amazons and the Atlanteans. So there's so much really cool stuff that they could have done with that movie. And yes, the fact that Superman would have been a co-lead is or at least a cameo, that is something. That is something I would want.
But like I said, Jared, even the actors were like, oh, there was a lot of franchises there, but WB and DC didn't see that. That's the problem. That's why they rebooted
I know. Which I feel like they could do it as like an Elseworlds if the demand was big enough. We'll see what happened. Wonder Woman 2 could have been a horror movie with Cheetah as the villain. Yes. Can you imagine? They could have done this like Predator.
Predator level 84.
But Cheetah is the Predator.
Yes. They
Bro.
didn't need to use Maxwell Lord.
That would have he's not he played he wasn't that important as a villain. Can you imagine Wonder Woman is like with Steve and like some other guys and they're being picked off one by one by Cheetah? Bro.
That would make your day.
I would love that, but that would be awesome. That would have been like, because you could play, because that's you playing with the genres to create a really unique experience with a Wonder Woman thing. Because we've never seen like a Wonder Woman horror movie. You don't have to make it R-rated because I know it's Wonder Woman. They don't want to make it R-rated, but just do that. That would have been like awesome. So freaking cool. Because how many times have I said Wonder Woman versus Predator would be awesome?
Yeah. I can see it. But Jared, we're in 2024 now, so unfortunately, we're not gonna get Wonder Woman 3. And even though the actress who played Queen Hippolyta, even though she thought that we could have got Wonder Woman 3, I still think if she didn't believe in the project for Wonder Woman 2, I think they shouldn't have backed Wonder Woman 2. I think that they shouldn't have doubled down on it. They should have kind of said, okay, you know what, this is going to be loosely connected to the DCU.
Honestly, dude, here's the thing. With how desperate the DCU is, I honestly think we could, if they don't get enough interest in stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if they do like go full, if they do try to like maybe do a Wonder Woman 3 as an Elseworlds to get people interested. Or this is not going to happen. But here would be the biggest like what the hell moment if they keep Gal as Wonder Woman and canonize the two I know they're not going to do that to audience. So just if they made these two movies in the DCU and kept Gal as Wonder Woman, they're not going to do that, but that would be nuts.
Yeah, it would be nuts, but they're not going to do it though, because I even had to explain this to Crazy Joe, right? Like I explained to him a few days ago, and on top of that, everyone else has told him they're not bringing back Gal, right?
I know. As much as or now to be clear, could they bring it back as an Elseworlds and just do it as like a fun movie? That they could.
I have an idea.
What?
Wonder Woman 1854. They could make that as an Elseworld.
I think they've kind of moved on from that concept. I would love that, but yeah. But then again, he basically had. This is one of the parts where I disagree with Zach. He basically had Wonder Woman as like having many lovers throughout time, and I'm like, okay, that's not Wonder Woman.
But I'll say this, man. I'll say this. I just think the way things are going with the Wonder Woman franchise, everything is riding on the next big thing going.
Everything is riding on that Wonder Woman game.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we got to realize is that if that game is not like big enough, or if that game flops like Suicide Squad did, yeah, I get the feeling we're only going to see Batman games. Because again, this is a little bit of a risk. Because here's the negative effect that this movie had. It, in the eyes of Warner Brothers, it damaged Wonder Woman's IP. Because what people don't remember is that the 2017 movie like made Wonder Woman. She was always like an A-list character, but in the public consciousness, in the modern audience public consciousness, it made her a character.
She became an international sensation.
Yeah,
literally. And the fact that she was part of the UN ambassador or something like that.
Yeah, that doesn't just happen. So on that point, this movie kind of was seen as like throwing a rock in a glass house. Now, the thing is, it didn't really damage her IP that much. That was just WB overreacting. So that's why I say, let me put it this way. If they wanted to do it, just do it as an Elseworlds and be done with it. Because Gunn said he would be more than willing to do Elseworlds projects. There's no reason why they can't do that.
Yeah.
Or even as a streaming movie. But my point is with this, it's like, it just has to do with WB. Because here's the thing. I get the feeling, Taladia, here's the thing. This is the one time I'm going to agree with Crazy Joe. All right?
Yeah.
If WB is desperate enough, I could see them keeping Gal and like going, do Wonder Woman 3. Yes, happy bad movie month, Tevia. At least agree with us on that. If WB is desperate enough, there is nothing off the table.
If they're desperate enough to restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah, exactly. But my point is, if as it applies to Wonder Woman, I could see this happening if they're $9 billion like underwritten and all their stuff keeps doing this bad. I guarantee you, there's a possibility that they say, "Can you do Wonder Woman 3?"
But Patty's on to Star Wars, so you got to find a new director.
No, but again, I think she would come back to do Wonder Woman 3 if they asked her to do it. I still say so.
That we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. But again, no. It's. I'm not saying it wouldn't be difficult. Well, what I mean is that they would approach her and say, "Yeah, we're interested in continuing this."
We'll see how they approach this.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if I'm yawning.
Okay.
It's 11:30 in the evening.
I see.
You know what's sad? This movie had so much potential to be amazing, but some that they screwed the chance.
Yeah.
Which I never understood why this happened when the first movie was good.
Yeah.
It's because they had Jeff Johns. It's simple.
That's a fact. That's an interesting fact because on paper, it sounds like a good idea to have Jeff Johns involved in the writing process because he is like one of the most prolific and most beloved comic book writers at DC. So I understand what they were going for. And he had written TV, as in the case of like Stargirl or even some episodes of Superman and Lois. It's just when it came to movies, I'm honestly surprised they let him do that after Justice League and his handling of that situation. I wouldn't have, but but again, this is the character where I would not trust Jeff Johns with. Green Lantern, hell yes. Wonder Woman, no.
You know who?
No.
You know
he cannot write Wonder Woman.
You know who they should have brought on for Wonder Woman?
Mm-hmm.
Gail Simone.
Nope. Because she would have had Tom Tresser, her misogynistic OC, as the love interest for Wonder Woman. At the time, let's see. Let me see. Who could they have? Let me see if they could have brought in this individual. Hang on. They could have brought in George Perez because he was still alive. He died in 2022.
Oh, okay. So they could have brought him in.
Because, again, when people think of Wonder Woman runs, His is the one everyone looks to as the best, and it is. So you could have at least had him come on from a story perspective to advise on the story. But you went with the writer that literally does not understand that's like going to Tom King to write a Wonder Woman movie.
We went from one bad, writer. Well, not technically not a bad writer, but you know what I mean, right? Jeff Johns is a bad person to another bad person, which is Tom King.
I know being a Wonder Woman fan is really rough. No, not Greg Rucka. Trust me, Tavia, not Greg Rucka.
You know who? But Tony Estaniel.
He's not a writer though. Charles Sewell, maybe.
Charles Sewell, maybe Charles Sewell would have been ideal.
Yeah, because he understood Wonder Woman, as we know from Superman Wonder Woman.
I have a really good idea.
Who?
Scott Snyder.
He doesn't understand Wonder Woman.
No. I mean, if they did a Justice League film after that.
Yeah, that's true. Now, see, here's the thing. Depending on how absolute Wonder Woman is as a book, they could bring in Kelly Thompson. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they start adapting absolute universe stuff into if the absolute universe becomes the next animated universe?
You know what? I can see that. I can see that happening.
Like that's the next DCEU. That would be cool.
That might actually happen, Jared. Which,
by the way, so Britt and I have some sales, some pre-order numbers. Do you know how much Absolute Wonder Woman got in terms of pre-orders?
Over 180,000.
150,000.
150? Okay.
That is fantastic.
And it does better than Rebirth.
It is higher than any Wonder Woman book that stores have ever ordered. It is bigger than Rebirth. It's bigger than Tom King's book. It is destroying it. Assuming that it keeps these numbers or like vacillates around that, because obviously when you go to issue 1 to 2, there's going to be a drop. Assuming the drop is not that big, if it maintains these solid numbers,
yeah,
this absolute universe is looking good so far.
Yes. So,
because can you imagine the absolute universe keeps selling well, but the main universe keeps selling poorly?
Absolute universe will take over the mainline universe.
Yeah, I could see them making the absolute universe the new main one, and then they'll do what they originally were going to do for 5G and have the absolute universe be the main universe now that we're going to explore, and the main universe is for Elseworld stuff.
Maybe.
Either way, it's possible if it sells well, because again, DC is very, very, very.
But I wish
desperate.
they made the Superman suit instead of red. Sorry, not red. I mean black instead of black, blue.
It's
blue
silver.
No, it's not. It's in one of the panels. It's black.
Well, I actually kind of like that because it's a little bit more on the funeral of Krypton stuff. So it adds a little bit to it.
By the way, Absolute Superman is doing really well in reviews. I'm just gonna
I've heard people say it's fantastic. So again, a lot of the Absolute Universe is really selling well, and I'm very happy about that.
This is why, guys, we're putting this out there. DC, please, or WB, please use the Absolute Universe as a launching point for your movies. Use that as a template.
Because you can get a lot of people on board. And then Brown Destroyer says Cersei was cast well in the Black Adam movie. That's not Cersei. Cersei was not in Black Adam.
No, she wasn't.
Why not show her villain for Wonder Woman 3 movies in the post-credit scene? Wonder Woman for Super Wonder versus Black Adam. Oh, you mean... Okay, so Adriana Tomaz... Okay, they can't use her superhero name because you know what her superhero name is?
Go on.
Isis. Obviously, they can't use that name in a movie.
They can't.
They really... That's the one time where I'm like, change the name of the character. Anyway, isn't the Absolute Universe also... Yeah, it is in the future, but I'm saying that could take over the main universe instead of just like they cross over and then they go away.
And sorry, Tevia, the Trunks will be going away too.
That would be interesting. I would like if the Trunks Superman becomes the main Superman. I
Wait,
don't.
wait. You mean the Trunks less? You just said
No,
Trunks.
sorry. If the Trunks less Superman becomes the main one, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want too. And then obviously give him the New 52 look. Bring back the New 52
Which they
look.
kind of did in this, because you notice in the Absolute suit they gave him a collar.
No, I mean the haircut.
I kind of like that haircut.
I rather had the New 52 design. That's me
of
being...
course. But yeah, I mean, as far as like where things stand now, so again, so based on Wonder Woman, how would you rate this movie out of 10? I give it about a 5 out of 10 because there's still some parts I like about it, but there's a lot I hate.
6.
Okay, above average. That's okay. I'll give you that.
6. Purely because...
How do you guys rate this movie out of 10? You guys in the chat.
Purely because of Steve Trevor dying again,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that we got the golden armor, and Linda Carter was in this film, so you got bonus points there, right? And the fact that they brought back the young Diana from the first film, which I think that was a really good thing that they did.
Mm-hmm. And so Tevia says, question, isn't the Absolute Universe...
No,
I already answered that.
Yeah.
If the Absolute Universe does take over the main... I'm curious if a lot of people will be happy about that. They probably won't. Kavari says 4 out of 10. Yep. That's a little bit more in my area that I agree with.
Well, it's 6 for me, because just because Steve Trevor dies.
Of course.
My rating for this movie was 2 out of 5 stars, mostly because of this movie came out was so disappointing. Okay.
All right. Patty Jenkins dropped the ball. Yeah, exactly. She did. That's why it was so heartbreaking, because she had like such a good thing with the first movie, but then the movie comes out and I'm like, what happened?
Blame it on Johns and WB.
Well, also the fact that they gave her total creative control to write the movie. That's the other thing that was like really wrong. You don't do that. That will bite you in the ass.
Yes. So, is there any questions you guys want to ask us?
Any idea on why James Gunn is so silent on who is the new Wonder Woman? Because he doesn't have a plan on who the new Wonder Woman is. That's the reason why. Here's the fact. Here's the interesting thing about this, Kavari. Did you notice how the casting for like how Lanterns is all in development, like really in deep development, even though it's like supposed to come out after Wonder Woman? It's because he has no plans about it. That's what I'm going to tell you right there. Because DC has never made Wonder Woman a priority, even though she's the third member of the Trinity by their own admission.
Yeah.
Also, he was a big waste. Would you want to say, Taladia?
So I've got a few minutes before I have to head out, but
no problem.
I was gonna say, right, if you guys got any questions for Jared or myself about the movie, feel free to put it in the chat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what this movie night is for, to have a discussion on it. So if you guys got any question about it, feel free to ask us that, and we'll answer them for you.
Question. Speaking of Wonder Woman, I am curious. Does James Gunn have a plan for that animated Wonder Woman? No, he's lying about that. No. He's lying about that. There is no Wonder Woman animated series.
Rebel Fox, welcome.
He says, dude, if DC should have tripled down on making Wonder Woman 3, but they keep rejecting it. Could have been really good if they give it a chance. Yes, exactly. It could have been awesome. But no, they're not going to admit that they screwed up. That's the problem. A lot of what you see when it comes to WB's handling of DC is ego. That's what it is.
It's ego or ego.
It's anyway. Ego, the living planet. Yeah, exactly.
But it is what it is. Is there anything else we want to add, Jared? Or?
Yeah. Good question. Speaking of this movie, I'm curious if you were able to make this movie. How would you do when you write the story? We did that earlier in the stream, but to reiterate, it's don't use Maxwell Lord. Make it a horror movie against Cheetah. There you go. Then you've made a pretty good Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
There you go. You don't even have to make it very like R-rated at all. So I think that's a good place to leave it. So Taladia, where can we find you and what have you got coming on your channel?
Okay, so you guys can check me out on Twitter at @TaladiaPlays_, and you can check me out on YouTube at TaladiaPlays. What I've got coming up on my channel is I will be doing a live reaction to Superman and Lois episode 3 with Jared, as per usual, on a Tuesday. I think 6 p.m. Jared, you said
Tuesday at 6. Yeah.
Okay, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern for Tuesday. We'll be live reacting to Superman and Lois episode 3. And then Wednesday, I believe at 5 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing Snyder Fans Read Comics, and we'll be doing Absolute Batman, which is Jared's first read. And obviously, we're going to have a discussion on it, and we're going to have so much to talk about Absolute Batman on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that.
Amen. So what about Paradise Lost? I get the feeling that's not happening. I'm going to tell you about that because he does it because James Gunn clearly does not care about Wonder Woman. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. He does not care about Wonder Woman, no matter what anyone says. He clearly doesn't because otherwise he would make her more of a priority. Otherwise, Wonder Woman would be getting a movie before like Booster Gold or any of the other D-listers that he keeps emphasizing. I'm sorry. That's just the unfortunate truth about who we have in charge of DC. He only cares about the Z-listers. He doesn't care about the main characters of DC that people care about.
Oh, I forgot to mention as well, guys, is that I'll be doing a stream tomorrow for Sparking Zero on Twitch. So you guys can come check me out on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/TaladiaPlays. So
the question is, are you going to be over 9,000?
Only you'll have to come over there and check out.
We'll see. We'll definitely
next time on Jagged, we'll see.
Yeah. As for me, tonight, Britt and I will be going live at about 9 p.m. to talk about Hal Jordan and Carol Ferris when it comes to their relationship and their similarities to Clark and Diana. And then in terms of Sunday, Nick and I will be talking about Superman the Animated Series. And in terms of
next week,
I'm going to try and get back into my schedule, doing like a Wonder Woman topic for my Wednesday videos. We'll be trying to go back to the gaming streams, and we'll see what we can hang out. So stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs with General Zod. Zoe and Max about for life. See you later.